Sorrell, the WPP chief, apart from growing his business and expanding the company's footprint at breakneck speed, has also managed to put to rest a common criticism of WPP not being a very creative conglomerate. But 3 years back-to-back, being named the holding company of the year at the Cannes Lions is no mean feat. I caught up with Martin Sorrell, a very happy man at Cannes, to discuss a variety of issues, from its recent Twitter deal to WPP's succession plan, WPP Ventures, and everything in between. Thank you so much for joining us. Truly a pleasure.
Yes.
Last year when we met, there was this big hue and cry regarding your pay package. It's finally gone through. Are you happy with your revised?
Well, you'd love to have 100% in favour, but it was pretty much 100% in favour of us as directors, not just myself, but other executive directors. And so from that point of view, it seems that shareholders are very happy, or share owners as we call them, are very happy with the progress and development of the company. But the difficult thing is that different share owners have different views. Even amongst the big institutional shareholders, there's quite a significant variety of views about what is the right compensation policy. We now have a long-term plan that is based on 3 parameters. It's not just total shareholder return now, it's EPS growth and return on investment capital. There are still some shareholders who believe that total shareholder return is the best way to do it. So it's very difficult. I mean, it's not something that I've been involved in. It's our compensation committee, and our chairman of that committee and the chairman of the company have been involved in. It's very difficult to get unanimity of view. And it is a democracy, and people have different views.
A lot of analysts have stated that, their concern for WPP is the fact that, if and when you decide to retire,
or somebody decides for me, which is more likely to happen.
A concern they might have is there is no person who has your vision or your ability to, lead an empire as large as this.
I'm sure. Well, that's right. The company is only, in the context, it's a $22 billion company. I mean, there are plenty of people inside the business who could run the business. There are plenty of people outside WPP who could run WPP. So that's, just like any company, the options are internal or external. So I don't see any difference. Now, would the person who does it run it in the same way? Probably, thank goodness not. And they'll probably do it much better. Can somebody, go from 2 people to 165,000 people in 110 countries? But the answer is no, because by definition we've done that. We've got the T-shirt for doing that, at least yet. So somebody's going to have to do it differently. There are people that found companies. There are people that manage companies. We tried to do both. We started 28 years ago. We had 2 people in one room. What I was really interested in was not just starting a company, but in building a company to a substantial level. I've always been interested in complexity. Maybe it was the vagaries of being at business school for a couple of years when I was a relatively tender age. But I like the idea of trying to run a big company. And I emphasize trying. I wanted to start it and run it, because there are many people who can start things but can't run things, and many people who run things who can't start things. So maybe the answer to the question is, you find somebody who's used to running things, and they'll run it even better than I can do.
I want to talk about your latest announcement in Muzi. Clearly, WPP Ventures is,
it's new. I mean, it's early stage investment in digital.
Right. If you can take me through, what WPP Ventures is looking at broadly in the foreseeable future.
Well, you've got different approaches. So we say, we have a sort of 3-pronged approach to our approach to digital, which is now well over a third of our business. The first is to focus on our established businesses. So we went through historically, that'd be JWT, Ogilvy, Y&R, and Gray, for example, in advertising, and say, you're not as digital as you should be more so. And this is a process that started, say, 10 years ago, and they're now accomplished digital companies as well as being classic agencies. Then the second thing is to say to our 4 digital leaders, our 4 Forrester digital leaders out of the 7 that there are, which are Wonderman, Ogilvy One, VML, and AKQA, you're very strong global businesses running from $150, $300 million revenue to $1 billion of revenue in each case. They're very accomplished businesses digitally, become even more accomplished. AKQA joins us. I think they've opened up in 4 new countries since they've been part of the group last year. And then the third thing is you find through WPP Digital and now WPP Ventures, you make investments, or you might actually build a network like Possible Worldwide, or acquire Rockfish, which is based in Bentonville, or a Blue State Digital, which did both of Obama's electoral campaigns, social campaigns. You experiment, you learn, you get knowledge, and you pump that knowledge and training into the people around the world. WPP Ventures is different because WPP Digital has been more mid-stage and late stage, whereas clearly WPP Ventures is capitalizing on Tom Dedicary's expertise and knowledge, and he's based in Silicon Valley. He's the chairman of AKQA, and so he comes across a lot of things that would be of interest to us and help us get a better digital understanding. And if you said to me, what's happening at Cannes, to some extent what you see at Cannes is confusion. A lot of people have said to me, they're walking down the Croisette and they get bombarded by these new media companies, and they're confused by the extent to which and of the change, and how do they optimize their spending the right level, and where do they spend it. And obviously what we're doing in that third phase with WPP Digital and WPP Ventures is try and understand a bit more what's going on.
Talking about your big deal with Twitter.
Yes.
Right, you came right after, 6 weeks later, after Publicis Starcom.
Yeah, but that's a very different deal. Starcom, as I understand, guarantees spending levels. That's not what we're about. We don't necessarily think that's the right thing to do. What we're about, and so let's be quite clear about it, is about working with Twitter on their data, understanding their data, and feeding that in to our understanding of television, your medium, newspapers, your medium, and trying to see what impact new media and social media have. So it's a totally different approach. We don't believe in those guarantees or guaranteed spending levels. We don't think that's our role.
In a sense, don't you think Twitter seems to have gotten a larger endorsement from marketers?
Our endorsement is about trying to use if we have made an endorsement, I still think it's a PR medium, primarily. It's a very, very powerful information medium, and what we're doing is trying to use the data that they've got to understand consumer behavior in a more coherent and deeper way. If you look at the Nielsen data in the US in the last year or so, particularly amongst younger age groups, audiences seem to decline. Now, if you look at the Twitter data, it seems that their engagement has got greater because they're using Twitter to communicate with one another as they watch the program.
Sure.
I mean, there's a wonderful graph, some data from Twitter, which shows activity during on-air and then activity after, which you'd expect it to tail off. But the activity on air is very, very significant. It depends, obviously, on which program you're talking about.
Sure.
So what Twitter is saying is that we may be seeing changes in the pattern of viewing between age groups and demographics, but the engagement is taking a different form, and the people are very highly engaged with the programs, or the people who are watching them are very, very highly engaged with them, but they're engaging in a very different way. You have to understand that. So, none of our competitors, including Publicis, have a consumer insight, what we're calling now a data investment management business, and that's a quarter of our revenues. It's excluded from the competition here at Cannes because there are no rewards for clever data investment management, which I think there should be. I've got a vested interest, and there should be.
Thank you so much.
Good.
As usual, always a pleasure. Lovely.
Thanks very much indeed. Good.